Because it's the Blue Review. Welcome, everyone, to another morning edition. Well, that's all we are, is morning editions. Every day, 8:30 to 8:55 of the Blue Review. We are back. The Dodgers have completed the Tokyo series. Marcus and Greg. Look, I don't really have to do crazy introductions now because I added names.
Look at that. Look at that. Growing up.
Production.
He's all grown up, Marcus.
He's grown up and they're grown up and they're grown up.
It's the new mic. It's this fancy little air pilot mic I have on.
Look at you.
Yeah. Well,
you.
guys, I want to have as long an episode as we can today, so that's why I wanted to make sure that we got right up and running. So a lot to react to. Roki Sasaki's MLB debut. Shohei showed out again in front of his Japanese home crowd, and just a lot more to do. So without further ado, let's get into it. Thank you, everyone, for being in the chat. Thank you to the LAX, because here at the Blue Review, we are powered by LAX. Things are happening over at LAX. Transformations, travel experiences changing, so check it out at flylax.com/transforminglax. Still don't have a read on that, so we're just saying what we want to say about LAX.
That sounded like what it was last year. So I'll go talk to the LAX people.
We'll make it happen.
Show. Yes.
So, Greg, how was your experience again? Just like you asked yesterday to Clint, your Tokyo watching experience.
Yeah. So this one was harder for me. I'm not going to lie. 2 days in a row, waking up at 3 a.m. I'm an old man at this point, and it takes a toll on my body, Marcus. So I woke up and I started watching the game, and I got to about the sixth inning, and I was falling asleep after the bottom of the fifth, and I knew all of a sudden I was starting to wake up, and I looked at my phone and it said, I saw Andy Pius up. I was like, okay, if Pius is up, then that means Shohei's coming up next, and let me just get through Shohei, and we'll see where it goes. Shohei hits their home run, which I get to see the home run because, of course, Shohei hits a home run in Japan. He's not going to leave Japan without hitting a home run. And so I go on and I tweet, and I put the phone back down to put it up to continue to watch, and then boom, eyes closed, done, gone. I am out till I saw Kyle Tucker hit a double off of Vesia. That's when I woke up.
All right, so you and I tuned in about the same time. One, I applaud you for even making the attempt to get up. Because I had other obligations, like Monday night into Tuesday. I actually was going to bed maybe a couple hours before first pitch. So there was zero chance I was going to watch that. And then this morning, I woke up in time to turn it on and see the Tucker double, and then we walked to Justin Turner, and then the final out of the ball game. My thought process was, you know what? If I catch some of it, that's great. Otherwise, I will wait for the good folks on television to give me a recap, and then I will figure out that way. Sort of.
I mean,
did you stay for the whole game, Parker?
Yeah, so we all had unique experiences. I set my alarm for maybe 2:45, and when it went off, I was like, what is this? I didn't even know what was going on because I was at Cosm the day before, so my whole week has just been thrown off. By the time I was officially awake, it was Sasaki's, and this is going to be a good transition into our first topic, Sasaki's second inning. I got to see walk 1, 2, 3, and I went, what is going on? So
walking
early
in
panic.
Run, yeah.
Yep, early panic, but he settled himself in and overall looked really good. So let's get right into that. Marcus, what have you been able to see from Sasaki's debut? Of course, the nerves were there, just like we talked about the last couple days. 3 innings pitched, but we saw the stuff. So that was the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was sort of the important thing there. And, if you want to look at silver linings, it was him working himself out of trouble, right? I mean, the walks, you don't love that. 5 of them in, 3 innings? Not great, but the fact that he was able to sort of pitch around that, get himself out of trouble, you got to believe that a lot of it was nerves. I mean, one, pitching for the Dodgers, making his debut in Japan with everybody, the whole nation pretty much stopped to watch. I mean, they were pausing in the middle of the night or having breakfast with the World Series, when that was going on. So, they were all watching that. So, I take away he's got filthy stuff. We saw it in spring training. And it's just a matter of sort of getting the nerves right and getting a little more comfortable. And, we'll see when his next turn comes in the rotation. But I would like to think that we'll see him settle in and get a little bit better. I mean, Greg, we talked about it on Monday. The initial start from Yoshinobu Yamamoto wasn't great, but obviously we saw him settle in and was phenomenal pretty much the rest of the year. So I am hoping for similar things from Roki Sasaki.
Yeah, I mean, and really this, in terms of the Yamamoto outing versus this outing, this was light years better than the Yamamoto outing. Yeah, he was wild. He was wild from the start of the game. He could not find the plate. But you could see that this stuff does play. He has an 101 mile per hour fastball. He was hitting 100 miles an hour pretty consistently. And for all the nerds out there, I know it was 99.5 and 100.5. Okay, whatever. I'm rounding up. It's 100 miles an hour, 101 miles an hour. So, but he was absolutely. You can see that his stuff like his splitter is going to be extremely, extremely nasty. That guys are not going to be able to pick it up when it is hitting. It has this gigantic drop. It's like 3 inches, 3 feet of drop. It was like this huge boom, just drops down, and very, very difficult for hitters to pick up when he's on. And I'm sure he's going to be on at some point, Parker. That he's looking really good in that sense. You can see that this stuff plays. Nerves was very much a big thing. The guy's 23 also. He's 23, pitching for the Dodgers in Major League Baseball opening day at home in Tokyo. That's a very difficult place to play. When you're in that type of situation, you want to show out for your family that are probably not going to get to see you very often in live like that. So I get it. Overall, it was a little bit of a rough outing in that sense because he just couldn't find the plate. But he got through it. He got some strikeouts, and I think he's going to be very, very good. But it's going to take some time, like you were saying.
Yeah. I'm looking at Greg, you were mentioning that splitter. I'm looking at his movement chart and just the absurdity of the variations. Typically, you're going to see a lot of pitchers with three pitches. The curve will have a lot of movement down below, but this splitter is basically like all the way down on the left, like in the negative 50s. A lot of baseball nerd talk that we could get into, but just you're seeing it on TV. You really don't know where it's going to go.
He doesn't know where it's going to go.
And yeah. So it's one of those things where the command, as he starts to shake off those nerves, is going to get there a little more. And as he works with Pryor and the coaches on how it works in the MLB. But I believe what we saw yesterday, last night, to this morning, whatever the heck it was a very positive sign. And again, the bats showed up, and Shohei was the engine that kept this Dodgers offense going yet again. So there's a lot of repetitives here, but I think this is a really good start, Greg.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, put it this way. You don't have Freddie Freeman. You don't have Mookie Betts. And I believe they scored 4 yesterday. Yep. Is that right? Mm-hmm. So they put up 10 runs without 2 of your best hitters. I think that's pretty damn good to start the season that way. And it really did. You're talking about, like, it was Shohei. Yes, he had the home run and he walked a couple times, but really it was other guys that really popped off. I thought Kiké had a massive home run for 2 runs. He also had a sac fly, so he brought in 3 of those runs. You got your very first home run of the season goes to Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman gets because Tommy Tanks gets the first home run of the. He is now a trivia question. Who had the first home run of 2025's MLB season? It's Tommy Tanks. So the guys were coming through when they needed to, and it's really nice to see that you all the way 1 through 9. It doesn't matter even without both those 2 massive pieces in Freddie and Mookie, still putting up runs, still turning it over, still moving guys around. Marcus.
Well, and I think it's, I flash back to this time last year, right? When the Dodgers went on, what was that streak at the beginning of the year of scoring 5 or more runs, like 8 or 10 games, something like that to start the season. And, we said at that time that, look, if you are a Dodger starting pitcher, or if you're the Dodger pitching staff, your goal is to just give up 4 runs or less in a game. And generally speaking, you're going to be okay. And I think that still applies, right? This is a team that I think consistently can score 4, 5, 6, even more runs per game. So that gives the pitching staff a little bit of leeway. And, they used 6 guys in the game today because you only got 3 out of Sasaki. So, that gives you a little bit more wiggle room, which I think is good on a roster where we know they're going to use a lot of pitchers all throughout the year. So look, it was everything you wanted from the start to the season. You saw some of your top line pitchers go out there and perform. You saw your hitters go out and perform. And as you mentioned, Greg, they did it without Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman. So the fact that they went out there and were able to generate a lot of offense, I think that's only encouraging for when those guys come back. I will say, look, Michael Conforto went out, had a couple of hits, in the series. You mentioned Tommy Edman going out and not only giving them offense, but being able to step in and play second base as well. So they're able to fill in the gaps. And I think that's the important part for now. And then now they get back to the States. They do this weird thing where they're going to play some exhibition games for a couple of days, and then they're going to start the season again for real. But I thought this trip to Tokyo was pretty much everything they could have asked for.
Gotta have a weird little stop with the halos.
Right?
I hate it.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry, Greg. Yeah.
No. You're right. You should hate it because it doesn't make any sense. You were talking about it on Monday, Marcus, about going back and forth. I just want to see every game at 1:00 in the afternoon again. I want all the games to be on at the exact same time for opening day. Have a whole party for opening day. That was what I enjoyed most about opening day. But I'm really happy with the way that things went in Japan. It just to be able to grow the game that way, for the guys that are Japanese to play in front of their hometown. I mean, that's not just from the Dodgers, the Cubs too. Seiya Suzuki, actually, he was terrible in this series. He struck out so much. He was actually Roki Sasaki's first strikeout was against Seiya Suzuki. But to have Yamamoto pitch there, Ohtani to be able to hit a home run in Japan, Sasaki to get his first start there. Imanaga to pitch there. It just was really nice to see that grow the game in that sense, and be in a place that really loves baseball as much as we do.
Yeah, and Marcus also earlier, it was 10 consecutive games to start last year for 5 or more. So one of, I think, 5 teams to ever do that, and probably the last one since the 30s. Who knows?
Yeah, I know it was a long time ago before it happened last. So,
but on that point, Greg, I love that you mentioned that because it was, of course, all those major stars, but then also from everyone along the lines of even Dave Roberts, the story about him, really reconnecting with his Japanese heritage and how much that meant to him, and just bridging the gap between all these really this is becoming a world game, not just America's pastime, but the world's pastime. And it's great. I saw a story about Ohtani because we can get into maybe his stardom a little bit and what we'll see this season. There was a gentleman, I'm gonna have to find his name, but I think KTLA did this story. I just saw it on Instagram when I was heading in. He was basically getting really emotional about being a Japanese American and the impact that Shohei has, and now how people treat him versus how he was treated beforehand. And it's really a cultural shift where, he's like, I wasn't really appreciative of how I was treated in this country before as a Japanese American. And now that somebody like Shohei is an idol to literally everyone of all races, colors, everything, he's treated differently. And I think when have we ever seen that in terms of, athletes? Maybe once or twice in our lifetime.
Yeah, and I think, and I don't know, we maybe mentioned this last year too. I think Clinton Yates popped in, and we sort of talked about this on one of the episodes last year, is that I think the only thing, at least in my lifetime, that comes close to that is probably Fernando Mania, right? Knowing that at that time, late 70s, early 80s, the Dodger franchise didn't necessarily have a great connection with the Mexican Latino community, at all, right? I mean, the history of Dodger Stadium was not a pleasant one for a large part of the population here in this city. But having Fernando Valenzuela show up in Los Angeles and immediately be a star did so much to bridge that gap. And I think Shohei is sort of the same way. And I continue to say this. I just think it's funny, weird, in the sense that Shohei has been in America for a while. Yeah. But it was sort of like coming to the Dodgers was actually his coming out party, right? He was just sort of toiling away in mild anonymity down there in Anaheim. He comes to Los Angeles, and within a month they give him the key to the city, right? And so I think that he has done a lot to sort of open up another market and include another fan base, similar to the ways that Fernando Valenzuela did all those years ago for Fernando Mania.
Yeah, I mean, because look what Shohei did when he was with the Angels. He was still the best player in the game, and he was actually doing both things at that time. He was pitching and hitting there, winning MVPs, doing a lot of things just because of they were the Angels. Sorry, Parker, but they didn't make the playoffs, and that really showed what he did. Then he comes here, wins a World Series, and has the greatest season possibly ever in the history of baseball at the same time, batting .310 and going 59-54 with home runs and stolen bases. It's pretty incredible how much it changes, but based off where you are. And so, yeah, he is a big cultural phenomenon around here, and he's being the best player in the game, and being Japanese it means a lot, and it means a lot to the people over in Japan too.
Yeah, and just honestly, the Asian community in general, just speaking from my friends who have told me how they feel because of it, it's amazing. And I was going to mention, I think I lost my train of thought, but it's just so cool because it's not just Shohei. I think because to your point with the Halos and he's been here, it's the organization and how they market themselves, their players. So it's really just a testament to the Dodgers as a whole, even while the whole every other team, every other fan base is trying to call them the new evil empire.
Which you just are. That's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
I'll wear it.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think every Dodger fan is comfortable wearing it. Yeah. But the thing is, you look at the players on the team, it's so hard to actually call them evil because they're marketed so well. They're so likable. Every single player on this team, from Teoscar down, come on. I mean, I get it. I'm homering from LA's viewpoint, but they're just not bad guys.
If you hate Teoscar Hernández, there's probably something wrong with you.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's you're just jealous of a happy human. That's the only way to look at that. There's no other way to look at it. I
saw a photo of him like on social media, like right as they were getting on the plane to head to Tokyo, and it was just Teoscar smiling, and the caption was, "This is like if Sunshine decided to become a person."
Yes.
I mean? I like
that's a great caption. That's
I mean, that's
they
really
win.
what
Whoever
it is.
made that caption.
So,
pick a player. Pick any player that's on this team. Like, show me something unlikable about one of these guys. I'm sure you can find some. Like, okay, like if you want to be honest, we can pick something out about Blake Treinen. There's some things around him that is unlikable. I get it. But for the most part, if it's a player's on the hitting side of the game, there's just nobody that you're like, oh, that guy's a bad guy.
Joe Kelly is gone because he would have been public enemy number one.
Well, he's public enemy number one for everybody else, and you need that type of guy every once in a while.
Yeah.
That actually brings me to something. Hold on.
Okay.
Marcus,
yep.
Do you see it? Because people are now talking about it consistently, that man over in the top left, Barker Bell, looks just like Joe Kelly.
I remember hearing it last year. In fact, I think Clint Pasillas would like to mention that a whole lot. So yeah, if you just go out and make the boo-boo face a little bit, put on some glasses,
get the mariachi.
I don't say maybe we should open the show with a mariachi band and have Parker introduce it that way.
Well, listen, on that note, I've put out the flyer. Greg, I know you offered me a challenge that
I did.
Mr. Kelly, Joe Kelly should be our first guest, so I've put the flyer out. No word, but I will keep us updated. I
didn't want to ask because I didn't want to put pressure, but okay, good.
He's a free agent at the moment. He's got the time. Like, I don't know. Look, I mean, if I were a free agent after playing professional baseball, I don't know if I'm waking up necessarily at 8:30 in the morning if I don't have to, but it's not like he's got anything going on at the moment till he figures something out. That's all.
Yes, but the flyer is out. So, hey, well, I know I'll cross my fingers, see if my producing skills go to work. But
let's see what you got.
Greg, we've kind of reacted in this short stint to the Tokyo series, but I wanted to ask you about what we didn't see. And you mentioned it earlier in this episode. The Dodgers won 6-3. They put up 10 runs without blank, blank, and blank, without so many star players. We also didn't see star pitchers such as Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. The Dodgers are going to be going into this Detroit series after we take a stop against the Halos. And we're going to see some fresh faces again. What are you most excited for? Is there something that maybe Dodgers fans or Blue Review viewers should be like keeping an eye out for?
From the pitching side of things,
I'd say, yeah, from the pitching side of things.
yeah, I really like, you know what Blake Snell is, you know what Tyler Glasnow is, you know what those guys do. Tyler Glasnow is coming off of the injury, so I'd like to see what he looks like, but I'm just assuming that the Tampa Bay connection of those two people are going to come back and they'll be just fine. They're going to be, it may not be great right off the top, but they're good. By the end of the year, you'll see that both Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow have these fantastic numbers. And obviously, we've seen Yamamoto and Sasaki, but I'm most excited to see Dustin May. I know he's been out for a long time. It's probably over 300 some plus days that he's been out. But either way, I love the stuff that Dustin May has. I really think that if he can stay healthy, he could be one of the best pitchers on the staff, and that's ridiculous to even think about because he has so much stuff. He has so much power. The way that the ball moves off of his hands and at 100 miles an hour, it's pretty much unhittable at times. So I don't know about you, Marcus, but out of everybody that we haven't seen yet, I am most excited to see Dustin May. Yeah, just the redhead.
May 17th, 2023. Last time he pitched.
It's been so long. I mean, wow, we're coming up on almost 2 years since we last saw Dustin May. Yeah, it's been so long, right? I mean, we saw Glasnow last year. We have seen Blake Snell now, generally from the other side, but we've seen Blake Snell. We know what he is, to your point.
Right.
We're sort of trying to remember what it is with Dustin May. And I think in a lot of ways, it's sort of like, with Walker Buehler, right? Last year is like, what can Walker Buehler offer? And, it was rocky at times. I mean, he authored, the signature moment of the season by getting the final out in the World Series. And he pitched well when they needed him to down the stretch. But I think in a lot of ways, it's sort of, we're running this back with Dustin May after a couple of years, seeing how close he is to the guy that he was before all the stuff happened. I mean, we should maybe keep him away from salad and that sort of thing if that's going to be a hazard.
No.
But yeah, I'm just more curious to see how the rest of this rotation shakes out, right? I mean, now that we've gone through Yamamoto and Sasaki, that we're going to see Snell and Glasnow, and to your point, Dustin May. I'm very curious about how this whole thing shakes out. I'm also sort of curious. Jack Flaherty is coming back with the Tigers, and just kind of curious what sort of
World
reaction
Series champion Jack Flaherty.
World Series champion Jack Flaherty. So I'm very curious to see what kind of response he gets. I would hope it's a positive response because he gave this team quite a bit in the second half of the season. So I do hope he gets a really positive response from the fans.
Oh, for sure. He's going to.
Former Air One smoothie owner, Jack Flaherty.
Wait, is he really?
Yeah, I had it. It was actually not bad. Yes. It was pretty good. The $22 smoothie at Air One. Yeah.
Maybe a curse on a completely different tangent. Everybody who had a smoothie at Air One is no longer an LA sports player.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp had one, gone.
D'Angelo Russell
has had one, gone. So yeah,
Jack Flaherty. Yeah.
All right. So then,
but he stayed the whole year. He
stayed
yeah. No, absolutely not. No Shohei. You're not allowed to do it.
Please, no.
But I mean, that Tiger series is going to be interesting because you're going to get Tarek Skubal and Jack Flaherty again. So you're going to get some good pitchers, and they had a chance. They had a chance to do some good things last year. That is an up and coming team that didn't think they were going to be that good. I just wonder if they're going to be the team that drops down to what they were supposed to be, or if they stay at the level that they push themselves up to. That happens every year.
It does happen. I mean, I will say that, the AL Central is not the strongest division. And so, I would think it's going to, again, be competitive. I mean,
is it Guardians,
it's been a long time since top to bottom. I don't know that it's ever top to bottom been really competitive. It's usually like one or two teams that are sort of better than everybody else. I mean, last year everybody got to beat up on the White Sox, 121 losses. I still remember that sad picture of Alex Vargas just sitting in the corner.
Miguel Vargas.
Sorry, Miguel Vargas.
Like it's just sitting there,
sitting there looking sad in the corner there. So we'll see. I think the Tigers are, to your point though. I think they are an improving team. I think they're building something there. And it'll be interesting that right off the bat, the Dodgers get to see what the Tigers have to offer.
Yeah, 3 teams surprisingly went out to the playoffs from that AL Central division. So Royals looked good. Tigers, like you said, made the run, and the Gardos, you never know what they're going to do.
By the way, it's going to be if you remember last year, it was right before the All-Star break. The Dodgers had an awful, miserable series in Detroit. I mean, they went in there and just They didn't hit. They played terrible defense. The pitching was suspect. I mean, it was them limping into the All-Star break and kind of getting it handed to them by the Tigers before that. So, hopefully they remember a little bit of that and get some get back.
Yeah, it's a good point. But we got a while until then because for some reason, got to wait another week for official Dodgers baseball. But we'll react and preview the series a little more as we go into it. We won't even talk about that Halo series because it'll be, I think, on the weekend when Blue Review's not there. But Greg, go ahead and close this out. Thank you again to the chat for being in there. Maybe tomorrow we can get to a lot of your guys' questions.
I do want to get to a lot of the questions, especially since we're going into back into spring training and there's not actual games that matter to talk about it anymore. So yeah, I think we can really a lot of chat questions, really try to interact with the chat tomorrow and through the rest of the week. But thank you very much for being here on Blue Review every day, 8:30 to 8:55 with Marcus Grant and Parker Bell. We're going to be here every single time, Monday through Friday. So thank you guys for being here. And Dodgers 2-0. In my mind, only thing that means, Marcus, 162-0. So
it's still in play.
Go Blue.
Still in play.
Thank you, LAX, and we'll see you tomorrow.